Hey, thanks for joining me. My name's Quinn, and I've been designing a game called School Grounds. It's a roguelike action game that takes place within a school being overtaken by ghosts, schools, and other monsters. Here, you can see the 7 main characters, each having their weapons in front of them. These 7 characters include Noru and her fork, Hikari and her scissors, Hanako and her mechanical pencil, Yuki and his book, Fudo and his backpack, Yami and his pizza, and lastly Soma and his lunch tray. I'm planning on continuing this series of devlogs to inspire me and hopefully get some people intrigued a bit more with this quite large project. Now, with introductions over, let's get into what I've been working on for the last couple weeks. The first thing I decided to work on was movement. I also decided to work with Noru first since I had the most ideas already for animations for her. I first went into Asprite, which is a great tool for making pixel art, and drew her running up, down, left, and right, and also making sure to have idle animations for each direction. Then, brought these into Unity, where I turned them all into animations, and after messing around with some code, had a pretty nice walking animation. Overall, pretty happy with how it turned out, considering it was my first time making any pixel art. This is the point at which I descended into madness. My first problem was how to make the character point in a certain direction while having the actual attack directed towards the cursor. This had me ended up split, working on 2 different codes, one to control the actual character and her animations, and the other code to work with the pointer underneath the character, and also a tiny dot I hid behind the character where all of the attacks would originate from. Simple enough, right? Yeah, after messing around with some code a little bit, it did end up being pretty simple. After the basic attack, I added in an active ability animation that will play whenever the character uses an elemental ability. In Noru's case, she pulls out her rat and gives it a tiny piece of cheese. But as my descent into madness was slowing, I reached the dash. Sounds pretty simple, right? Take the character and their direction, move them in that direction a certain distance. Easy. Slap that code, hit play, and why am I not moving? Okay, fixed it. She dashes now, but I need to make it look more like a dash and less like a teleport. Nothing's working. So I try something. Cause a bug, scrap the idea. New plan. Scrap all of that dash stuff, alright? Instead, I'll just have code that speeds up the player for, less than a second. Okay, let's try. Okay, maybe a little too fast. Perfect. Now that the dash is done, I can start... Wait, what's that? No. My slashing animation, it's getting desynced with my attack animation. Well, that's no problem. I'll throw on some code and... Alright, what's wrong? I'll get back to it in the morning and know the problem, right? Days, weeks, months. Who knows how much time has passed? I've given up. A single roadblock in code has completely halted my progress. My code is not as it once was. Once a perfect, clean, simple code has now turned into a jumble mess of words. What was I to do as a broken man? A voice calls out to me.
Hey, idiot. Move the code over a bit.
Huh. Next up to work on was the lunchroom. The main problem with this was just figuring out how to make the walls and floors since I hadn't made pixel art of a room yet. And after remaking the floor about 5 times until it actually looked like a floor, I ended up finishing it, and the walls. Last thing to cover for this devlog is the table with all the characters. I spent quite a while trying to figure out an angle for sitting until I realized I could just use the idle animation and make it look sitting. I then made a different animation for each. Noru stabs with her fork, Hikari swipes with her scissors, Hanako draws on her paper, Yuki turns a page, Fudo looks at something in his backpack, Yami takes a bite of pizza, and Soma spends his lunch tray. There you have it, all the things I've added in School Grounds thus far. Next up, I'll be working on getting attacks and cleaning up the lunchroom a bit. If you want to follow some of the progress, I have my Twitter in the description where I've been posting updates and what's happening. Other than that, thanks for sticking around, and if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them in the description. See you next time.